There was a time when hair wasn't just hair, it was a statement. The 1980s were loud, bold, and unapologetic, and our hairstyles were no exception. From towering bangs that defied gravity to sleek looks that belonged on the silver screen, the 80s gave us a decade of unforgettable hair moments. It was a time of endless hairspray, perms, and the belief that bigger was always better. Today on Rewindly, we're flipping through the pages of style history to look at 10 classic hairstyles that define the 80s. 1. The Big Perm. If you lived through the 80s, chances are you either had a perm or knew someone who did. The perm, short for permanent wave, was all about creating voluminous curls that lasted for months. Celebrities like Dolly Parton and Cher turned it into a trend that spread like wildfire. Every trip to the salon meant hours in the chair, with a head full of curlers and a cloud of chemical smell that stuck around. It was big, bouncy, and dramatic, and in the 80s, that was the point. 2. Feathered hair. Made iconic by Farrah Fawcett in the late 70s, feathered hair ruled the early 80s. This style was all about layers that framed the face and flipped outward like wings. The look was soft, glamorous, and worked for both men and women. It was a time when you could run your fingers through your hair, shake it out, and instantly look like you'd stepped out of a shampoo commercial. The feathered look eventually gave way to bigger and more structured styles, but for a while, it was the ultimate in casual sophistication. 3. The mullet. Business in the front, party in the back. The mullet was one of the most polarizing hairstyles of the decade. Short and neat around the crown, but long and flowing in the back. It became a symbol of rebellious cool. Rock stars like Billy Ray Cyrus and hockey players alike wore it with pride. Some loved it, some hated it. But either way, it's impossible to talk about 80s hair without mentioning the mullet. 4. Teased Bangs. Also known as mall bangs, these were the ultimate teenage girl statement. Armed with a can of Aqua Net hairspray and a teasing comb, you could sculpt your bangs into a sky-high wave that stayed put all day. The goal was height and lots of it. The more your bangs brushed the ceiling of your bedroom, the better. Looking back, it's a wonder our hair ever recovered from all that teasing. 5. The Jheri Curl. Smooth, shiny, and dripping with style, the Jheri Curl was an 80s icon. Made famous by Michael Jackson during his Thriller era, it gave hair a soft, glossy curl pattern that seemed to glow under the lights. But it wasn't all glamour. It required special care and constant moisturizing. The Jheri Curl was more than a hairstyle. It was a cultural moment that defined music, movies, and street style of the 80s. 6. The Side Ponytail. Fun, youthful, and just a little bit silly, the side ponytail was a playground favorite. Instead of pulling hair back neatly, you'd gather it high to one side of the head, letting it cascade over your shoulder. Paired with scrunchies and neon colors, it was a perfect match for an oversized sweatshirt and leggings. The side ponytail wasn't meant to be serious. It was a celebration of the playful side of 80s fashion. 7. Slick back power hair. The 80s weren't all about volume. Sometimes sleek was the name of the game. For the corporate power look, both men and women would slick their hair back with gel, creating a sharp, commanding style. This was the Wall Street era, where success was measured in shoulder pads and firm handshakes. On the right person, slick back hair said one thing loud and clear: I'm in charge. 8. Crimped hair. Crimping irons were the magic wand of the 80s. In just a few minutes, you could transform straight hair into a zigzag masterpiece. Crimp hair was fun, bold, and worked equally well for a night at the roller rink or a school dance. The texture gave it a playful energy that felt uniquely 80s, and it looked incredible with a touch of glitter hairspray. 9. The rat tail. A close cousin to the mullet, the rat tail was short hair with one long, narrow section at the back. Sometimes it was braided, sometimes left loose, but either way, it made a statement. It was popular among kids and teens, especially those who wanted just a hint of rebellion without committing to a full mullet. Today, it's more of a curiosity, but back then, it was a badge of cool. 10. Punk spikes and mohawks. The 80s also had a wild, rebellious side, seen in punk spikes and colorful mohawks. Punk rockers used hair gel, glue, and even sugar water to create towering spikes in every color of the rainbow. Mohawks could be tall and dramatic or short and understated, but they all sent the same message. I don't follow the rules. It was anti-establishment hair at its finest, and for many, it was an art form. The 80s were a decade when hair wasn't just part of your look. It was the look, from soft and feathered to wild and untamed. Each style told a story about the person wearing it and about the times we lived in. Some of these hairstyles make us cringe now, but they also make us smile because they remind us of who we were and how we expressed ourselves. Which of these classic 80s hairstyles do you remember, or maybe even wore yourself? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for another trip back in time.